Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This isn't really the start of the video. The start of the video will actually be later. I'll leave a timestamp. I want to take a brief moment just to talk about how I've been recently, what is expected on the channel, and what is going to happen in the future. So if you don't want to listen to my small little rant, just skip ahead. There will be a timestamp. But before I get into the video, I just want to say, look, I'm bored. Okay, so while being bored, I've brainstormed a lot of ideas, and I'm gonna try and do not daily uploads, maybe one every 2 days. I'm gonna try put a lot more effort. I'm gonna try to do better editing, and continuing the series of the best 20 albums of every single year of this decade, at least for the moment. Then at the end of it, I'm gonna do a 2-part episode of top 100 albums of the decade, maybe just one YouTube video, but maybe just 100 to 51 and 50 to 1, and then I'll probably at some time also do a top 100 albums of all time list. I might do another decade at some point as well. I'll also be adding in a few covers into the mix, maybe a few originals, maybe a mixtape eventually. But look, at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm going to try to do what this is. I'm going to maybe do a couple more worst to best, like I did with the Radiohead one. I might do the best records I listened to this month, the new ones I'd listen to. Don't necessarily have to be in 2021 or October. It just has to, be ones that I've listened to, for the first time within that time period. But enough about this. I want to get into the video. So the best 20 albums of the year 2011. Here we go. A slight difference to the last video. I'm going to be trying to improve quality. So I'm also going to leave down in the description alphabetically via the artist name. I'm going to be leaving down all the albums in case you want to listen to it. The Rate Your Music list will also be down in the description, along with my socials and whatever. By the way, please like, subscribe, share, comment. Comment down below what you want to see me do. Let's get into the best 20 albums of the year 2011. At number 20 on the list, we have Ween's Caesar Demos. Quite a long album. It just feels like a lot of throwaways and leftover tracks from previous albums, but it actually holds itself up as an album. I mean, it has some of Ween's best tracks to date. The only problem that I might have with it is that the replay values, the whole album is not the greatest, but overall still one of Ween's better releases. Number 19, we have Vacation from Bomb the Music Industry. The band is led by 21st century punk legend Jeff Rosenstock, with his powerful vocals and abstract songwriting, along with some very nice, delicate power pop, indie rock, pop punk instrumentals. Up next on the list, we have debut mixtape / release from ASAP Mob leader and frontman ASAP Rocky. A fresh and interesting take on early cloud rap, mixed with these chopped and screwed and dirty South instrumental cuts, which managed to fit perfectly with Rocky's boastful and passionate flows. A shock, coming in so low at number 17, Helplessness Blues from the legends of the Indian chamber folk scene, the Fleet Foxes. Beautiful songwriting with such romantic and lush instrumentals to mix and match the feelings of an autumn breeze. Big K.R.I.T's Return of Forever, coming in at number 16, is definitely an album within Big K.R.I.T's broad discography that doesn't really get the recognition it deserves. Being a very important release for southern hip-hop scene, influencing such rappers as Killer Mike, Pusha T, Denzel Curry, who went on later to produce some of the best hip-hop albums in the decade. Number 15 is debut of one of the world's most not only beloved hip-hop artists, but one of the most critically acclaimed and celebrated artists of all time. Kendrick Lamar proved to the world that he had a future to come with Section 80, an album with some of his best tracks to date, even though having a couple of the most critically acclaimed albums ever with his following 2 releases. Talking about exceptional rappers with incredible discographies, let's take a second to talk about Danny Brown's XXX. A world filled with misuses of drugs, vulgar and sexual fantasies, and Danny's world of depression and anxiety. Heading into my 9s and 10s, we start off with Alex Turner's EP Submarine. Stuck on the Puzzle still stands to be the best song in the Arctic Monkeys solo and group franchise, a sweet and charming collection of singer-songwriter tracks that fit greatly with the movie the soundtrack was made for. At number 12, we have surreal, atmospheric, ambient plunderphonics release Replica from group One O Tricks Point Never. Quite a fascinating and quite confusing album at some times, but with some super awesome glitchy and vaporwave-like progressions throughout the whole track listing. At number 11, one of my favourite metal bands ever, Leprous, released Bilateral, a quite complex avant-garde record with a bunch of technical and progressive movements, with some quite beautiful introspective stages added into the layout of the album. Cracking into the top 10, we have the Caretakers and Empty Bliss Beyond This World. I have my opinions on the Caretakers' discography, with a few of the albums having quite super high praise, but a couple not so great. But this record, it comes near the top. A quite lonely and melancholic ambient album that showcases the talent the Caretaker has. And coming in at number 9, my favourite metal release of the year, Elder's stoner metal phenomenon, Dead Roots Rising. A super heavy and dense experience. The way they mix psychedelic rock and doom metal is, in some of the tracks, is actually quite spectacular. A great forward-thinking album, and there's really a lot to love about it, but I get at some points it can feel a little clunky, but most of the time it's super fluent, and it's such a great record. Bon Iver's kind of self-titled Bon Iver comes in at number 8 on the list. Although not Justin Vernon and his band's best release per se, still quite a delicate, touching, moving record. Mellow and melancholic lyrics and vocal performances with lush and quite soothing guitar-led instrumentals. Next on the list is CunninLynguists' Oneirology, another great southern hip-hop release that really caught my attention from the beginning of the setlist, and the energy I got from the album never left until I actually finished the album, feeling like I had to come back to it to actually understand what it's really about. Unlike a lot of their hip-hop releases in 2011, this one was more atmospheric, nocturnal, and a quite symphonic release. Number 6, before we get into the top 5, the Beach Boys' Smile Sessions. Brian Wilson's Smile is an album that I haven't fully understood and gotten used to, but the sessions are really what drags me closer towards the album itself. And my goodness, aren't the Smile Sessions amazing? At the time of making this, I would say I love the sessions more, but it is pretty close. Heading into the top 5 releases, albums, mixtapes, whatever, is a glitch hop instrumental hip hop release from one of my favorite groups at the moment, Yeah Yeah Ye, and it's titled that, wherever it is, I think there. Yeah Yeah Ye, or H2O Sports, is by far one of the least most accessible groups to fully understand and get into, also making it harder to find their music in the first place, as this one and a lot of their other releases are on SoundCloud. And look, I understand why people wouldn't get this. It can be quite drowsy, surreal, hypnotic, or whatever you want to call it. But I think once you take a step back and actually, take a proper look at it and try to understand what it's about, once you get that click, it really turns into an incredible release, just like their other records or mixtapes that you just really will love. Number 4 is Death Grips' debut release, Exmilitary. Although only being available through YouTube, this is still by far one of their most popular and highly praised albums within their stacked discography. At points the record is, but it feels like a record even though it is a mixtape. And it can feel quite aggressive, raw, and very drug-infused at times, but it can also be quite chilling, misanthropic, and quite disturbing. Breaking into the top 3, we have Giles Corey's self-titled LP. Member from quite well-known post-punk band Have a Nice Life, and after releasing Death Consciousness and Voids, he decided to take a step back and go solo. A super depressive, lonely, and somber album focusing on topics such as death, self-hatred, and I'll have it. Yeah, I can't say that. Giles really depicts these topics apart and focuses on them really well while still making an effort to not sound super weary and drowned out. Really keeping these topics afloat while trying to find the wrong way out. The darkness to all these things. Not find the happiness and the way out of these problems. At number 2, we have ambient dream pop drone album AIA Alien Observer from the band Grouper. Another quite lonely and somber record, although this time instead of finding the darker and the wrong way out, on this record Grouper try and find the brighter and the right way out. Quite a sparse and hypnotic record that gives off a real eerie vibe, but also while keeping intact while everything else seems to really be falling apart. All the core and the real emotions are what is keeping this record together, and that is what I absolutely adore about this album. The only 10 out of 10 release this year, a definite top 100 of all time for me. I think you guys know where this is going. My favorite and the best album of the year 2011 is C418's Minecraft Volume Alpha. It is a beautiful, nostalgic album that deserves a lot more than the title of just being a video game soundtrack. This album is the best of what ambient music has to offer, giving us a wide variety of peaceful, melancholic, and progressive cuts and tracks. The electronic aspects to the album are quite phenomenal. To sum this art piece up, it is single-handedly the most nostalgic thing ever. Whether you're listening to something like Sweden, Mice on Venus, or Wet Hands, I get the most heart-wrenching feeling, so painful and unexplainable that it would take years to really understand and tell you how I'm actually feeling. I guess this is it, and I didn't include any honorable mentions in the beginning or somewhere through the middle or between 2 and 1 like a lot of people do, but I'll have a top star in the top left here with all the albums that were included, and I'll put like 10. I'll put some albums that I think deserve some praise, and I'll also put the honorable mentions down below. You'll be able to find all the albums, their title, and the artist's name, and feel free to listen to them. I think it's great listening to more music. Again, I haven't listened to every single 2011 record, so don't take my opinion too seriously, and don't be like, oh, why isn't this album here? Because I might not have even listened to it. I might not have got around to it. I've tried to listen to as many 2011 releases as I can before I can listen to another year. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share, like, comment down what you want to see next time. And, peace.
Feeling the listening to me, you pray. Feeling the energy, feeling the synergy, I know you're lonely. Feeling the energy, feeling the K.R.I.T, the energy.